Evelyn stared at the glowing green numbers on her alarm clock. 3:17 a.m. With a sigh, she rolled onto her back and stared at the ceiling, accepting that sleep would continue to elude her. Her mind raced with thoughts of the strange package that had arrived earlier that day. It was a small wooden box, intricately carved with swirling patterns that seemed to shift when she wasn't looking directly at them. There was no return address, just her name written in an elegant script she didn't recognize. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was a single tarnished brass key and a note that read simply, "When you're ready for an adventure, use me." Evelyn had spent hours examining the key, turning it over in her hands and wondering what it could possibly unlock. She'd always longed for adventure, but at 32, her life had settled into a predictable routine of work, errands, and Netflix binges. The most exciting thing to happen in recent memory was finding a $20 bill in an old coat pocket. As she lay in the darkness, Evelyn's gaze drifted to her bedside table where the key rested. On impulse, she reached out and grasped it, gasping as an electric tingle shot through her arm. The room began to spin, colors swirling together like paint in a kaleidoscope. Evelyn squeezed her eyes shut against the dizzying sensation. When she opened them again, she found herself standing in a vast marble hall. Ornate pillars stretched towards a domed ceiling painted with constellations that twinkled and moved as if alive. At the far end of the hall stood an imposing set of golden doors. Evelyn looked down at herself in shock. She was no longer wearing her ratty old pajamas, but an elegant gown of shimmering midnight blue. The key hung from a delicate chain around her neck. "Welcome, Evelyn," a melodious voice echoed through the hall. A tall figure glided towards her, its form shifting and changing with each step. One moment it appeared to be a regal woman in flowing robes, the next a wizened old man with a long beard. "We've been waiting for you." "Who are you?" Evelyn asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Where am I?" The figure smiled enigmatically. "I am the Keeper of Keys, and you are in the Hall of Doors. Each door leads to a different realm, a different adventure. The key you possess will open any door you choose, but choose wisely. Once you enter a realm, you must complete your quest before you can return." Evelyn's mind reeled. This couldn't be real, could it? And yet, she could feel the cool marble beneath her feet, smell the faint scent of incense in the air. "What kind of quests?" she asked, curiosity overcoming her disbelief. "That depends on the realm you choose," the keeper replied. "You might find yourself battling fearsome creatures, solving ancient riddles, or navigating treacherous political intrigues. Each quest will challenge you in unique ways, pushing you to discover strengths you never knew you possessed." Evelyn's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. This was the adventure she'd always dreamed of, but was she truly ready? As if reading her thoughts, the keeper spoke again. "The key chose you, Evelyn, because it sensed your potential. You are more capable than you realize. Trust in yourself, and you will find the way." With newfound determination, Evelyn squared her shoulders and strode towards the golden doors. As she drew closer, she noticed that each door was marked with a different symbol: a sword, a book, a crown, a tree, and dozens more. Her hand hovered over the doorknob marked with a spiraling galaxy. Something about it called to her. Taking a deep breath, she grasped the key hanging from her neck and inserted it into the lock. With a soft click, the door swung open, revealing a swirling vortex of starlight. Evelyn hesitated for just a moment before stepping through. As the door closed behind her, she felt herself falling through space, surrounded by the twinkling of a million stars. Just as she thought she might fall forever, her feet touched solid ground. She found herself standing on a platform suspended in the midst of a vast nebula. Swirling clouds of cosmic dust and gas stretched as far as the eye could see, painted in breathtaking hues of purple, blue, and gold. In the distance, she could make out other floating platforms, connected by shimmering bridges of light. A holographic figure flickered to life before her, a being of pure energy in vaguely humanoid form. "Greetings, traveler," it said in a voice that seemed to resonate within Evelyn's mind. "Welcome to the Celestial Nexus. I am the Astral Guide." The figure gestured towards the sprawling expanse around them. Our realm is in crisis. The cosmic balance has been disrupted, causing stars to die prematurely and new worlds to form chaotically. We need your help to restore harmony to the universe. Evelyn's head spun as she tried to process the magnitude of the task before her. But how can I possibly help? I don't know anything about cosmic balance or creating stars. The astral guide's form pulsed gently. The key that brought you here has imbued you with the potential to manipulate cosmic energies. Your quest is to travel to each of the 7 cosmic anchors and realign them. But be warned, there are those who profit from the chaos and will try to stop you. With a wave of its hand, the guide conjured a glowing map of the Nexus. 7 pulsing points of light marked the locations of the cosmic anchors. The nearest anchor is there, it said, indicating a platform wreathed in swirling red gases. I can offer guidance, but the journey is yours to make. Trust in your newfound abilities and let your intuition guide you. As the guide's form faded away, Evelyn took a deep breath and surveyed the path before her. The bridge of light leading to the first anchor looked gossamer thin and insubstantial. Could it really support her weight? Pushing aside her doubts, Evelyn took a tentative step onto the bridge. To her amazement, it felt solid beneath her feet. Emboldened, she began to walk more confidently, marveling at the cosmic vista around her. Halfway across the bridge, a high-pitched whine filled the air. Evelyn turned to see 3 sleek metallic objects hurtling towards her. As they drew closer, she could make out sharp blade-like appendages and glowing red sensors. "Halt, intruder!" a robotic voice commanded. "You are interfering with authorized entropy acceleration procedures. Prepare to be neutralized." Evelyn's heart raced as she looked frantically for an escape route. There was nowhere to run on the narrow bridge. As the hostile drones closed in, she felt a warmth emanating from the key around her neck. Acting on instinct, she grasped it tightly and thrust her hand towards the approaching threats. A burst of cosmic energy erupted from her palm, catching the lead drone and sending it spiraling off into space. Stunned by her own power, Evelyn quickly took aim at the other 2. Her next blast clipped one drone's wing, causing it to careen into its companion. Both exploded in a dazzling burst of light and metal shards. Breathing heavily, Evelyn stared at her hand in wonder. She had done that. Maybe she really did have what it took to complete this quest after all. With renewed confidence, Evelyn continued on to the first cosmic anchor. As she drew closer, she could see that it was a massive crystalline structure, pulsing with energy. But the pulses were erratic, and hairline fractures ran through the crystal's surface. Evelyn approached cautiously, unsure of what to do next. As if responding to her presence, the key around her neck began to glow. She grasped it, feeling cosmic energy flow through her body and into the fractured anchor. Slowly, the cracks began to seal themselves. The anchor's pulsing steadied, falling into a smooth, rhythmic pattern. As the final fracture disappeared, a wave of energy burst forth, washing over Evelyn and rippling out across the Nexus. In the distance, she saw a cluster of unformed planets gently settle into stable orbits. A sense of accomplishment filled Evelyn as she turned to the next challenge. 6 more anchors awaited her attention, each undoubtedly guarded by those who wished to maintain the chaotic status quo. Over the next several days, or was it weeks, time seemed to flow differently here, Evelyn traversed the Celestial Nexus. She leapt between asteroids in a field of icy comets to reach one anchor. Another required her to navigate the crushing gravitational forces around a black hole. With each anchor she repaired, Evelyn's powers grew stronger and her confidence soared. She learned to form shields of pure energy to deflect attacks, and to manipulate gravity itself to traverse impossible distances. The astral guide appeared periodically to offer advice and encouragement, but increasingly, Evelyn found herself relying on her own instincts and abilities. It wasn't always easy. The forces of chaos sent ever more dangerous adversaries to stop her. Evelyn battled swarms of nanobots that tried to disassemble her at the molecular level. She outwitted a cunning AI that attempted to trap her in a simulated reality. With each victory, the key's power melded more fully with her own. Finally, Evelyn stood before the 7th and final anchor. Unlike the others, this one was completely dark, its energy entirely drained. Even worse, it was surrounded by a swirling vortex of destructive energy that disintegrated anything that came near. As Evelyn pondered how to approach, a massive ship emerged from behind a nearby gas giant. It bristled with weapons, and in its center sat a swirling mass of dark energy that seemed to devour light itself. A booming voice echoed across space. "Foolish human! Did you really think we would allow you to undo all our hard work? The entropy we've sown will usher in a new age of unrestricted creation and destruction. Your pitiful efforts end here." The ship opened fire, launching a barrage of missiles and energy beams. Evelyn threw up a hasty shield, but the impact still sent her tumbling through space. As she struggled to right herself, tendrils of dark energy lashed out, trying to ensnare her. For a moment, doubt crept in. How could she possibly overcome such a powerful foe? But then Evelyn remembered how far she'd come, all the challenges she'd already overcome. She wasn't the same person who had stepped through that door in the Hall of Doors. She was stronger now, capable of things she'd never dreamed possible. Drawing on every ounce of cosmic power within her, Evelyn began to glow with intense radiance. She dodged another attack from the ship and then went on the offensive. Bolts of pure creation energy lanced out, puncturing the ship's shields and disrupting the swirling chaos at its core. The ship's attacks grew more frenzied, but Evelyn moved with fluid grace, anticipating each assault. She countered with precisely targeted bursts of energy, slowly but surely dismantling the vessel's defenses. With a final, massive effort, Evelyn gathered the ambient cosmic energies around her and launched herself directly at the heart of the ship. She plunged through layers of metal and circuitry, pushing through the destructive dark energy until she reached the core. There, suspended in a web of malevolent energy, was a figure not unlike the astral guide, but twisted and corrupted. It snarled at Evelyn, lashing out with tendrils of darkness. "You cannot stop the inevitable. Chaos will always triumph." Evelyn stood firm, drawing upon the full power of the key and her own indomitable spirit. "Chaos has its place," she said calmly, "but so does order. True harmony comes from the balance between them." With that, she released a tremendous burst of cosmic energy. Light and darkness clashed, swirling together in a dizzying maelstrom. For a moment, it seemed as though the two forces might tear reality itself apart. Then, slowly, the energies began to stabilize. Light and dark intertwined in a complex dance, each complementing and balancing the other. The corrupted being howled as its form was drawn into the newly harmonized energy. As the ship dissolved around her, Evelyn gently guided the balanced energy into the final anchor. It flared to life, pulsing with a steady rhythm that resonated with the other six. A wave of restoration swept across the Celestial Nexus, bringing order to chaos and tempering rampant creation with gentle entropy. Evelyn floated in space, marveling at the beauty of the rebalanced cosmos. Stars burned with renewed vigor, and newborn planets found their places in elegant orbits. She had done it. She had saved an entire universe. The astral guide appeared before her, its energy form glowing with approval. "You have succeeded beyond our highest hopes, Evelyn. The Celestial Nexus is restored, and the cosmic balance is stronger than ever. You have earned your place among the greatest of universal heroes." Evelyn felt a bittersweet pang as she realized her quest was complete. Part of her wanted to stay, to explore this wondrous realm further, but she knew it was time to return home. "Thank you for believing in me," she said to the guide. "This adventure has shown me what I'm truly capable of. I'll never forget it." The guide's form shimmered. "The memory of your deeds will live on in the stars themselves. And who knows, perhaps the key will call you to new adventures in the future. The multiverse is vast, and there are always more realms in need of a hero." With a final farewell, Evelyn felt herself being drawn back across the cosmos. She passed through the door in the Hall of Doors and found herself once again in her own bedroom. The alarm clock now read 3:18 a.m. Only a minute had passed in her world. As Evelyn settled back into bed, her hand went to the key still hanging around her neck. She smiled, knowing that whatever challenges life might bring, she now had the confidence to face them head on. And just maybe, someday, another adventure would come calling.